Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel, Reset Diaries. How are you all doing? And I hope you have seen my latest episode, episode number 16. It's a fantastic episode, and it's one of the great reset stories that I came across in a while. All right, but coming back to stuff you should know about, today I'm going to talk about three of my favorite things. It's something to do with fitness. The second thing is coffee, and the third thing is sleep. Yes, I love sleep. Like, I am somebody who will actually calculate the number of hours before dozing off because it's extremely important for me to get that at least 7 hours of sleep. I cannot function without that. So let's dive in with first coffee. So, do you know that right now, currently, we are living in this third wave of coffee? Now, you'll ask me, what are the first and the second wave? So, let me give you a little bit of insight into it. The first wave was more like a rise of convenience. So, first wave begins somewhere in early 1900s when coffee brands made it accessible to everyone. The whole beans, ground coffee, and even instant coffee became sort of staples in household. So, coffee was more about convenience, cheap, easy, and perfect for like those percolators or vending machines. Then came the second wave, which was the Starbucks revolution. So, in early 1970s, second wave began. So brands like Starbucks, they elevated this coffee beyond function. Coffee is now turning into an experience, and there's this whole plethora of Starbucks opening into the US. So inspired by Italian cafes, they introduced lattes, cappuccinos, and all those espresso based drinks with syrups and caramel drizzles and whipped creams and whatnot. So second wave coffee also introduced us to Arabica beans, but they were typically roasted dark to complement milk and all these additional flavorings. And the third bit, the wave that we are in right now, this is more like where coffee is treated as an art. In this wave, coffee is treated more like a wine or craft beer kind of a industry. It's about highlighting those nuanced flavors of single origin beans. I don't know if you've noticed in some of the cafes, they really very explicitly mention where are the beans coming from. And then they focus a lot on the preparation methods like pour overs and espresso. So third wave coffee shops are more transparent about everything, the bean variety, the cultivation methods, and the processing techniques that they use. So basically telling you everything about the origin of that coffee bean. So each cup is sort of like a story which is meticulously prepared with some ritual around it, and it's often served in those beautiful ceramics to elevate the experience. You can tell you are in a third wave shop if they offer single origin pour overs and focus on the bean quality instead of flavor syrups. Now, each wave brought something unique. First wave was about all about accessibility. Second wave turned into more into experience, and now it's more about artistry. So together, I think all of this has contributed in making coffee what it is today. And it's a global culture which is just constantly evolving around the world. So I don't know which wave do you vibe with the most, but personally, to me, third wave appeals the most. But let me know in comments what appeals to you. All right, so next I came upon this thing in Reddit actually. So there's a thing called deadlift ETF. Now we all know deadlift is like this lower body exercise in the gym. The name has been given deadlift ETF. It's a fictional ETF, and it's apparently gaining a lot of traction on X and Reddit finance communities. Like, there are more than, I think, 5 million views on X alone. So what is unique about this deadlift ETF is that this unique ETF features all the holdings which are based on the physical fitness of the company's CEO. So according to the ETF's creator, the idea is to invest in companies led by CEOs who are known for hitting the gym or practicing some kind of fight sports like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and all of these. So while I mean it may sound unconventional, and they've shown in the graphs that how deadlift ETF outperforms S&P 100 index. So the rationale is that there's a growing body of research which suggests that physical fitness can correlate with better decision making and leadership skills. So while we may think, and there's data to support it, but I still believe there are a lot of factors involved in making a company financially successful. It's a purely fictional thing, but it's kind of fun. You can check out which all companies feature in this ETF. And with this, we jump on to our next topic, which is sleep. Now, there are a lot of sleeping cultures across the globe, one of the famous being the siesta in Spain. But today, I'm going to talk about something which is very unique to Japan. Now, in Japan, falling asleep during work or even on live TV is actually considered as a good thing, and it's called inemuri, which means present while sleeping. But the twist is, inemuri isn't about laziness. Rather, people there wear it as a badge of honor because it shows that you've been working so hard that you are squeezing in rest wherever you can. It could be in the trains during your commute, it could be in the parks, it could be after your early lunch. So it's almost counterintuitive that it doesn't mean you're slacking off, but rather it shows that you're working so hard that you're trying to make up for that lost sleep during the daytime. So, from meetings to social gatherings, even politicians on national TV are not immune to this quick snooze, and it's quite acceptable there. Now, the origins of this inemuri dates back to economic growth of Japan. So in 60s, 70s and 80s, the economic growth was really off the charts. Over the time, it became normal for people to hustle to maintain their success and show their dedication and commitment to their superiors. So inemuri became a way to recharge during those long days and nights where they were working hard in the office. So, but what is most interesting is the rules of inemori. You have to sleep discreetly and sleep compactly. Unlike, you are sleeping on others' shoulders. You have to sleep very compactly in your own space with heads down, perhaps like in trains, without disrupting others. So I found it quite fascinating. It's so this is it with the stuff you should know about. Tell me this much: what you like about Reset Diaries and what you don't like about Reset Diaries. Please, please, please let me know. And if you like it, please share it with your friends and family.